So good evening. Good evening. Good to see you, and it's my pleasure, ultimate pleasure. Yeah, it's my pleasure to be here today to talk to us about my uncharted path. So thank you very much, Priscilla, for organizing this and for all of you having to attend this very important session. So now, my story starts in the village in Elmentaita, a place called Mitimingi. I've never known to date why it's called Mitimingi, because there are no trees there. Okay? And so I just grew up in the village, just the usual, taking care of the few goats we used to have there, swimming in the river, working in the farm. We used to go to school 4 kilometers away on barefoot, just the usual stuff. But quite early, I realized I had some creativity. I could draw. Drawing for me was just natural. It used to happen like that. And secondly, there wasn't much in the village in terms of motivation, because everybody in there's nothing much going on. We used to have one village bus that used to cross there, and as we went to school on foot, the Makangas there, they were our inspiration, if you could say that. But one thing happened. I had an elder brother of mine then who used to read novels. Anybody remember the James Hadley Chase novels? So he'd read those novels, and looking back now, I realized he had a photographic memory, because what he would do, he would now come in the evenings. We don't have paraffin for the lanterns we used to have then, and he could give us stories. So he could tell me about Los Angeles and all these places, and I would go like, wait a minute, there has to be another life out there beyond what we are seeing in the village. And that intrigued me. So I went through school and did my class 8. After I did my class 8, I went to Njoro High School. Then from the village, that was quite a feat. There were no people going to school that time. But I came with a friend of mine who can validate my story. He's right there. So he's been my friend since class 1, by the way, eh? Okay, so we went to school with him, we went to Njoro High School with him. And the reason I'm saying Njoro High School is because it is there that I continued with, I went into drawing and design in Form 2. I knew I didn't do agriculture, I dropped accounting. So I was very clear, those days, I was very clear that one, even if I go to campus, I will not end up in Egerton University. I could swear. I couldn't go to Egerton. I knew that, for real. But it is so happened that once the results were out and the Joint Admissions Board then, I went to check out and I realized I'd been admitted at Egerton University. Because my dream was to be an architect, because I love art. That was my dream then. So at Egerton University, what do? I'd been admitted to pursue a course in BSc General. So I landed in Egerton, and I'm asking myself, what do I do? So around that time, it's then that they introduced computer science as a department then, but they only picked about 15 people. So I went in there, I tried to get a slot in computer science, it didn't happen. I attended class for about a month, we were kicked out. So I had my elder brother, who was primary school teacher, he knew they had schooled with the registrar back then. So he came and told me, Tim, you see, now it's very hard for you to get a job because with BSc General, how far can you go? So why don't you switch and take B.Ed Science, because that will guarantee you a job. I didn't want to hear about that, but I said, my elder brother is the one who's somehow paid school fees for me, so let me follow through. So we went to the registrar's office. So when we went to the registrar's office, he did one thing that is so critical, that was a lesson for me. He told me, he actually told my brother, this is Tim's life. So if you may, kindly step out. I want to talk to Timothy first. As he told me, hey, see, Timothy, this is your life. It's not your brother's life. So tell me, if you want to switch to B.Ed Science, I can help you do that right away. but do you want to do that? I told him, no way, I don't. Because I felt in my heart then that it would limit me in terms of the options I would had. Because I was imagining if I was posted as a teacher in some bundles in there, then I'm done, okay? So after we did that, my bro came in and he told him, no, the young man has said he doesn't want, you stick to BSc, and I did that. So I got to third year, I branched off into statistics and a few units in computer science. I did that. We cleared college. After that, then there's no job. So what do you do? So I went to Nakuru. I became an untrained teacher that time. And my first job, I earned 2,500 bob. That's what I was paid. I did that. After 2 weeks, I got another job. I was moving fast. So I got another job. I was paid 3,500. Then after a month, I got another one. I moved to I got 5,000 bob. I was upwardly mobile, okay? So, but now around that time, what happened, the headmaster of the village school used to teach in when you're on holiday, he came over looking for me. He said, Tim, you had said you wanted a job here as a teacher for maths and physics, so why don't you come back to the village and teach there? But we can't afford you, so we can only afford to pay you 3,500. So at that point, I had to make a decision. I said, I would take that. So I went back to the village, 3.5, because I knew if I go back to the village, it was going to be easy for me to get into TSC. Okay, so I did that. So went back there. After 3 months, I did an interview at TSC, and I was employed as an untrained graduate teacher, earning 13,000 shillings in the village. Can you imagine? So now, this is what would happen. So now people would tell me, hey, Tim, you're very lucky. Now you're at home. You are the last born at home. You have 13,000 shillings. Now just get married and go on with life. I remember I would talk to my friend here. He was in Jekwat. I could talk to him, and he knew me. So I told him, that's not going to happen. Me, never. So I went and I applied for now the postgraduate at the University of Nairobi, and I got it. So I got it. But now the interesting thing that happened was this. Anyone that has been a teacher, you would normally teach for around 3 months, and after the 3 months, then you'd start receiving your salary. Okay, so you get they would call it a boom. And then from there, your salary will be regularized. But for me, it happened that somehow my salary never came through for the entire period. And I was wondering why. For the entire period, the salary never came through. So I went through, and I was to join now University of Nairobi in October. And by that October, my salary yet hasn't come through. But you know what? The paths of a righteous man, they are ordered of the Lord. It was God's way of ensuring he has kept aside school fees for me. Okay, because I got the money on time. So I paid my school fees myself. So I paid it, okay, the Lord paid it for me. So he paid it for me. So I joined Chiromo. I had a brother then, he had bought a small plot in town here, but he hadn't built it. So what do I have to do? So I had to make a decision, so where do I live? So with my village background, I decided at that point, it really doesn't matter what people see externally. It is what is inside of you that matters. When I'm going to college, does anyone care where I'm coming from? No. So I bought some 4 iron sheets, and he was trying to put up, my bro was trying to put up a house. So I took the offcuts for the one that I use for construction, and I put up my small house, that place. I bought my lantern, the paraffin lantern, and I made a 2-legged bed. Have you ever used a 2-legged bed? Because it was, I'd fixed it on the wall. So I'd fixed it on the wall, I made a table for myself, and that is how I went through my postgraduate. Okay. But while there, I did a project. My final project was on property management with one of the top property management firms here. And it is then that it dawned on me, and I could feel very clearly something that from way back I could tell I wasn't into this thing of working for people. It wasn't in me at all. So it's then that I knew my strategy was, let me extend the product I built as a project. And for me to survive, then what I need to do is I'll be teaching part-time. So I was teaching in KU packages. I was teaching in a school of professional studies. So that's how I would survive as I built this software. So my bro then is an engineer. Is an engineer with his friend. So they had sort of thought of starting a networking company because that's their end. But I told them very clearly, for me, I just want to go into entrepreneurship. Now, so in now the year 2000, something interesting happened at that point. So we got wind that the Retirement Benefits Authority Act was going to come into force in the year 2000. So I've cleared college in 99, and in March of 2000, we get to hear of this. So what do you decide to do? At that point, it's an opportunity. You don't have a client, but you feel you can build something for the industry and make a lot of money at that point, because you would look at that list then, there were like 1,400 pension schemes, and one of the things was there was going to be software was mandatory for them. So we went in. Do you have money? No. So we do. A friend of ours was working for Reuters that time, and so they were selling off. They were selling off the depreciated computers, 100%. So they had bought one for themselves, so they lent us that computer. It was a Pentium 2 400. If anybody knows that, IT, you can tell. For those who do not know, it's the equivalent of going for a safari rally with a tuk-tuk. I think that lands, okay? So now, and we started. Do you know pensions? You don't. Is there anybody you can run with? There is no one. Is there anyone who can hold your hand? There is no one. But in you, you have this belief. You have this belief, and there's something in you telling you, there's something here. I remember, thank God I wasn't married that time, because I was working 7 days a week. From 7 a.m., the earliest I would go home was at 11 p.m. because we didn't have laptops. Okay, so we had a tiny little office, just very tiny office. How we used to fit in there, it's a miracle. Okay, so that's what we had, and so you have this box that you have to work with. So 7 days a week, we worked very hard. So through connections here and there, we could talk to people who were in the industry, and they would give us material. And true to it, in October of 2000, the act came into force. So what do we do at that point? Borrowed some money from a friend, and we put up an advert in the Nation, in the Daily Nation, that we have a pension administration software at that point. So two things were critical. Make sure you somehow take care of yourself, because there's nobody taking care of you. And at that time, you're alone anyway. You are coding alone, as the other two guys are doing networking. And make sure that the landline, because we didn't have mobile phones that time, make sure the landline is working, because that's the only way how people can reach you. So people started calling. And they would go for demos. But how do you go for demos? You don't have a laptop, so you carry the CPU, you carry the key box, and you go for the demo. Okay? Remember what I said? It's never what people see, it's what is inside. Okay? Whatever you want to say, it's your problem. I remember, by the way, I went to one of the top insurance in this country. I went for a demo there. I'd gone to see the person who was the general manager then. And so he looked at me, because I'd taken a Kenya bus up to where you have NHIF there. Then I walked to The insurance company somewhere in Upper Hill. So I went in there, still sweaty, dust on my feet and all this. So I met this gentleman, and he looked at me, told me now, you look small. So how did you even know about pensions? And by the way, do you even have a business card? Okay, I didn't have any. But you know what, I told him, size is relative. See, at the end of the day, it is the value that I'm bringing on the table that matters, okay? And down the road, they became our clients. Anyway, okay. Now, what happened was after we did demos, the person that gave us a break, and it's important to all of us here to get this clearly. We went to somebody quite established in insurance. So we went there, and we gave a demo to his managers. So after we gave a demo to his managers, the following day he called us for a meeting. So when he called us for a meeting, he asked us 2 questions. 1, is there an Indian in your company? We told him no. 2, is there a white man in your company? We told him no. Oh, so you're just some young boys trying to do this? I like what you're doing, and I'm going to give you a chance. Whatever you're charging me is neither here nor there. I can lose it, I don't mind. But this is the deal. If you do a good job, you can use my name anywhere. And you can tell those guys to even call me. I will pick their calls and I'll give in a good word for you. But if you do a bad job, please, I will personally ensure you will never sell this solution to anyone. Okay? And so I think we did a pretty good job. And down the road, another critical thing happened because they're not in our solution. So someone called me, one of the banks called us in the office, and they were asking if we offer pension administration services. We told them no. So this time we had an opportunity to refer one of the main banks in Kenya to him. Now, it happened that when these people came for the site visit, we were implementing, because he was our first client in 2001. So we were implementing at that place, but we were not finished. So he said, you people do this, tell those guys from Systec to come and give the demo for our interested client, because they'll be able to better present this. So I said, God, thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. Because for me, it is not that bank that is a client, but it is him who is my client here now. He's my customer. Because at any one point, you should be able to differentiate between the customer and the user. The customer is the guy with the money. The user is the one who needs it, okay? So for me, he was my client because if he connects with what you're doing, he can take you places. So went into his boardroom, and these guys came, and I gave quite a demo. So the following day, I went back to the place, because what would happen, we would take a Kenya bus, alight at Quality. People know Quality, and then we would walk all the way down to the site. So I did the same thing. I got in there, and the manager then told me, hey, Tim, the chairman was very impressed yesterday, and he said immediately you get here, he'd want to see you in the office. So I went to his office. He gave me all those ego massaging statements, you know them. And finally, he told me, I pay my PA. Now, this is 2001, I pay my PA 100,000. So you know what that means, So he was throwing something at me. And so he told me, I think I really want to work with you. You look so talented, I like your passion and everything. I would want to work with you. I told him, okay. Yeah, so we can start at 150. I know that time I have 20 shillings in my pocket, But then at that point, I told him something arose in me. I'm not sure who was speaking. I'm not sure if that was Tim. That must have been someone else who was speaking. Someone arose in me, and I told me, sir, I really appreciate the fact that you are saying we have something of value. But I'm not sure how far we will go with this. But one thing that is certain, If I take your offer, we will never get there. So thank you, sir. And he was surprised. So down the road, he wanted to buy us off and everything else. So that's another story altogether. Okay, fast forward, something else happened. As we were doing demos, we were up against some Canadian company, some very established Canadian company, because they saw an opportunity here, so they came. And as we were doing demos, we got the first deal here in Nairobi. Then in May of 2001, we got Kenya Ports Authority. And I think those guys from Canada, they started wondering, what's going on here? So around that time, we still have our tiny office, because remember, in as much as you've gotten the deal, you have to deliver to be paid. So you have these deals, they're big deals, but you are broke. Okay, so what happened was, we got a call from an Indian lady called us, and he said, would you want to come to your office for a demo? I get what? Come to office? Yeah, we tried to push them not to come to office. They wouldn't budge. We told them, okay, fine, it's all right, no problem, you come. So they came. A tall Kalasinga guy and an Indian lady, they came to our office, a tiny place. And so I started giving them the demo. But as I gave them the demo, somewhere as I proceeded with the demo, I'd learned a bit of pensions then. But I realized they were asking very technical questions. So I was wondering, which client is this? Which client is this? So then one of my colleagues came back and they told me, hey, Tim, you have to stop the demo. I asked, why? No, you have to stop the demo. Then he asked the gentleman, what's going on? This is a small town. You'd have told us you are from the Canadian company. So you realize. So they had decided to sort of spy and find out what the solution that we have. Okay? So anyway, the demo ended there. But you know what? That was God's setup. Because 2 years down the road, we got a call from one of the big IT companies here that there was a deal in Tanzania and they wanted us to form a consortium. So you're wondering, how did they even know we exist? These guys are too big. How did they even know we exist? So when we went to the office, they told us, by the way, when we got this deal, we called these guys in Canada because we knew them, so that we can partner with them. But you know what they told us? We decided we will never come back to East Africa at all. But there are some guys there called Sistek. You talk to them. You see how God works? So divinely, someone who's supposedly your enemy is the one who now pushes your agenda. You see? So, and that's how we now go to partner with these guys. Of course, them at that point, they flew to Dar es Salaam. We guys had one of my partners had an old, very old Subaru. The tires were worn out. We had to drive all the way to Dar es Salaam for the demo. And somewhere past Arusha, we got a tire bus. We almost died there. But anyway, now, again, that was another key decision point, because the moment we got there, what happened was, among the people we were doing who were in the consortium, when we were giving the demo, just like the other time, they saw we have something. And immediately we came back to Nairobi, they looked for us. And they told us, guys, can we get into a deal where we can market your solution out there? Now, not in Kenya. We market your solution out there. We will take care of all the expenses. And then you guys tell us how much you would want us to. And we told them, why not? And that's how we started flying. Okay, because now the guys would pay for the airfare and everything. And we got a deal in Tanzania. We got 2 deals in Tanzania. We got a deal in Nigeria with these guys like that. And so we kept growing. We grew quite a lot. So we got very, very, very many deals all over the place. But now one thing, around now 2009, we realized we have many clients, but we're really not making money. Because all along, we were not structured. We never had a mentor. We never had a business plan. We just had passion. Okay? Passion that is not structured is dangerous. Okay? You need it to be structured. And I would tell anyone, when you start this journey, you need a mentor. It's so important because they'll guide you. So around that time, I participated in some business plan competition called Jitihada business plan, and we were the first runners up in it. And in doing that, then it is then that it dawned on me the importance of having a business plan. So one of the guys who was judges there after the competition was over, I now approached him and I told him, would you be kind enough to be our consultant so that we can come up with a strategy? So we did the first strategy now in 2010. So we did the first strategy, and after that we now started implementing now the new version of our solution. So at that point I had to make a very critical decision, because all this time I was like a lone ranger. Basically, I'm doing all this by myself. And you have the founder syndrome, you have all these things you have to deal with. Like when I was implementing Mombasa and Nairobi at the same time. I used to live in the coast bus. So I sleep at night, I just sleep at night, then in the morning, get there up in the morning, take a French shower, go to this client, spend 3 days there, go back to Mombasa, like that. Okay, it was crazy. But at the end of it all, we got value. So I had to make a decision. I need to pull out. We build a team based on the strategy. Once we build a team, then we are able to, then we'll be able to then we go to the next level as far as the solution is concerned. So we did that. And then at that point, we also made another blunder, another strategy blunder, because we got a close team of about seven young developers. And so we told them, see, we have this vision of taking over Africa. So you guys, let's build this thing. We'll come up with an employee share options, and we'll own this thing together. And so we thought the guys had got it. Until we got to 2014 there. 2014 there, we had gotten we are implementing 8 deals. We had 8 deals in 5 countries. And then the guy was leading. He was taken over by one of the big guys with big pockets. And we lost like 5 developers in 3 months. I said, nah, this thing, what you do? But again, it became an opportunity for you to search deeper. See, the Bible says there's nothing new under the sun. It's true. But what I believe in is when you want new stuff, then go above the sun, isn't it? Yeah, then connect with God. God will give you new ideas. Below the sun is nothing new, but above the sun, there are new ideas. So thought through, and it's then that we got an idea of a HR strategy where we only employ our own up to now. But by employing our own, it doesn't mean you're employing our own relatives. No, we employ people that we have culture, people that have our spirit. Okay? So we designed, this was very divine. We designed a very, some internship program, a very tight one, where we go through a very rigorous exercise over a 6-month period where we pay for everything. These guys only come to be trained, and out of that, we make it very competitive. Something almost similar to what Donald Trump was doing in You're Fired. You remember that? Something similar to that. So by the time the 6 months are over, you've completely rewired their psyche. So complete brand new work ethic. They're able to work very differently. And now it is from that pool that now we are able to pick the people that we work with. So now that was a turnaround for us. And we have since stabilized very well in terms of the HR resources. So there's no risk on that at all. And now we are at a place where we are growing by the day as we expand across Africa. Okay? Because my motivation has been, when we started out, really, there was nobody holding our hands. So why do you want the people coming after you to also go through the same path? So we tell them this: when you come to work with us, and by the way, we only take fresh graduates. If you've ever worked anywhere else, you are disqualified. So you have to be fresh. Okay? When you're fresh, you can be molded into anything. When somebody has worked another place, they come with funny ideas. We used to do this there. So only fresh graduates, so we mold them and you tell them, guys, by the time you're done with us, only 2 things should happen. One, you start your own outfits, or two, you go work for the Microsoft and the Oracles up there. And I'm glad to say, as we speak right now, we have quite a number of them working at Microsoft who've gone through us. And a number of them who've started their own software companies, and I'm very proud of that, okay? So, one of the verses, one of the key verses that has been very instrumental to me in this journey, and I will tell anyone that is starting out. Proverbs 30, 24 to 28. You know, there are 4 things that are little upon the earth, but they are exceedingly wise. Because you have the ants. The ants are people not small. They are people so small, but they prepare their meat in summer. There's a bit of preparation, because most of the time we look down upon ourselves and we don't prepare. So we get to prepare as much as you can. And then you have the second one, the conies. You know the rock badgers, the hyrax? Yeah, the conies are but a feeble folk. Yet they make their houses on the rocks. We all have our strengths, we all have our weaknesses. So get to know what your strength is. Even in your disadvantaged position, get to know what your strength is. And you capitalize on your strength as you manage your weaknesses. You see that? Because most of the time, when you're starting out, people will tell you, I don't have capital, I don't have this, I don't have the connections. But what do you have in your hands? Whatever you have in your hands, make use of it. Make use of it. At that time, when you're starting out, we could only get what? 400. And that's what we had to run with. There's no money, that's what you have to run with. So what you have in your hands, take advantage of what the Lord has put in your hands. And then the third thing is the locusts. The locusts have no king, yet they advance in bands. You don't need anyone pointing you to any direction. You can make your uncharted path where there's nobody leading you, and you can still go ahead and make it big time. And then lastly, and this is most important for me, is the spider. The spider, it worketh with her own hands and is in the king's palace. If there is a creature that you cannot discourage, it's a spider, isn't it? You can't discourage a spider. You find it's made a spider, that web at the corner, you remove it, in the morning you will find another one. Even if you go to State House now, you will find a spider there. You get that? But why is that important? Because it draws from within. It makes the web from within. What are the things that you are drawing from within you? You draw your strength from within. If you try to draw your strength from without, it's easy to be discouraged. So that has been my journey, and I'm looking forward to do great things, even as we inspire other people, and as we tell Africans that we can do it. Because there are very few Africans, Black Africans for that matter, who are developing enterprise software. Most of them you'll find they're developing mobile apps, that space. But who is at the core? Who is developing the enterprise solutions? People from out there. So they take off with all the money and they leave us with the crumbs. We can do this if only we can believe in ourselves and commit to a journey of professionalism and no loss of focus. So for me, faith, a key ingredient for me. Faith and passion, those two things. And if you're competing out here, if you can only compete at the level of, for me, product differentiation, you continuously differentiate your product and at the same time focus on service excellence. Whether you know people or you don't know them, your word will be out there and you make it big time. Others, thank you very much. Really appreciate. Thank you.